You feel it every day, that voice telling you to be nice, to fit in, to follow the rules others have created. But what if this voice isn't your friend? What if this voice is actually stealing your power? Friedrich Nietzsche discovered something about human nature that most people never realize. A silent trick that's been controlling you since childhood. The people who truly shape the world have discovered this secret. They've broken free from invisible chains that still hold you back. Today I'm going to show you what Nietzsche uncovered about power and how it can transform your life. Nietzsche stood apart from other philosophers of his time. He rejected the moral systems that dominated Western thought. For centuries, philosophers debated what makes actions good or bad. But Nietzsche asked a different question. What if morality itself is the problem? In his works like Beyond Good and Evil and On the Genealogy of Morals, he exposed morality as a power game. He introduced the concept of master morality versus slave morality. Master morality celebrates strength, courage, and self-affirmation. Slave morality worships meekness, obedience, and self-sacrifice. Nietzsche's most controversial idea was that Christianity represented the ultimate slave morality. It turned weakness into virtue and strength into sin. It created what he called resentiment, a secret resentment of the strong by the weak. This resentment becomes disguised as moral superiority. The silent trick became complete when people internalized these values. You became your own jailer. You began to suppress your own power voluntarily. The will to power stands as Nietzsche's central concept. It's not just about controlling others, it's the driving force behind all life, the impulse to grow, expand, and overcome. Unlike other philosophers who sought ultimate truth, Nietzsche declared, "There are no facts, only interpretations." This perspective liberation opens the door to creating your own values. Why do we instinctively obey moral systems that weaken us? Our brains evolved in tribal environments where rejection meant death. Going against the group triggered fear responses in our primitive brain. Modern society exploits this ancient wiring. Schools, religions, and corporations all benefit when you obey without question. The human mind naturally seeks comfort over truth. We'd rather accept a pleasant lie than a difficult reality. Nietzsche called this intellectual laziness. We inherit values instead of creating them. We follow paths others have walked instead of forging our own. This psychological tendency saves mental energy but costs us our authenticity. The concept of herd mentality explains our conformity. We instinctively seek safety in numbers. We fear standing alone with our own values. Evolution rewarded those who fit in, but evolution doesn't care about your individual power. It cares about group survival. The result? A society of people who talk, dress, and think alike while believing they're unique. Look around at modern life. Social media rewards conformity while claiming to celebrate individuality. You gain likes by expressing approved opinions. You get cancelled for challenging popular beliefs. Nietzsche would recognize this immediately as slave morality in digital form. Corporate culture demands the same conformity. Companies talk about innovation while punishing those who truly think differently. The office team player rises while the genuine innovator struggles. The same slave morality that dominated churches now dominates boardrooms. Even personal development gurus fall into this trap. They promise transformation while offering standardized formulas. True power comes from a place few dare to explore, genuine self-creation. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch or Superman represents someone who transcends societal programming. They create their own values rather than inheriting them. The last man Nietzsche warned about perfectly describes modern comfort-seeking society. People who avoid all discomfort, who take no risks, who pride themselves on being normal. Their silent mantra: better safe mediocrity than dangerous excellence. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you move closer to becoming the last man. Consider Napoleon Bonaparte. While conventional morality condemned his ambition, Nietzsche saw him as someone who created his own path. He transcended the limitations others accepted. He didn't ask permission to reshape Europe, he simply acted from his will to power. Whether you approve of his actions or not, his life demonstrates what happens when someone refuses to be bound by conventional morality. Beethoven offers another example. Facing deafness, the worst fate for a composer, he didn't surrender to fate. He created his greatest works after losing his hearing. His Ninth Symphony came from a man who couldn't hear a single note. He transformed his suffering into transcendent art. This embodies Nietzsche's concept of amor fati, loving your fate rather than merely accepting it. Van Gogh lived in poverty and obscurity. He sold almost nothing during his lifetime. Yet he created art on his own terms. He refused to paint what would sell. He chose authentic expression over public approval. Today, we celebrate his originality. During his life, society punished him for it. His story reveals how the truly powerful often go unrecognized in their time. Martin Luther King Jr. demonstrates Nietzsche's ideas in action. When existing moral frameworks justified segregation, King didn't just argue within that framework, he created a new moral vision. He didn't ask permission to demand equality. He recognized injustice and acted from inner conviction rather than external approval. His power came from refusing to accept the world as it was. The silent trick that gives you power is this: stop seeking permission. Every time you look for approval, you surrender your power. Every time you ask, "Am I allowed?" instead of "What do I want?" you strengthen your invisible chains. Real power starts when you realize no one can authorize your existence. Nietzsche offers the concept of eternal recurrence as a thought experiment. Imagine having to live your exact life with all its pain and joy repeatedly forever. Would you choose it? This question forces radical responsibility. It eliminates excuses. It demands you create a life worth endlessly repeating. The path to power requires embracing discomfort. Growth happens at the edge of your abilities, not in the center of your comfort zone. Nietzsche wrote, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." This isn't just about surviving hardship. It's about transforming challenges into fuel for your growth. Creating your own values doesn't mean descending into nihilism. It means taking responsibility for what you believe instead of inheriting values thoughtlessly. It means examining every should and must that governs your life. Keep what truly serves you. Discard what merely controls you. The ultimate power move is what Nietzsche called becoming who you are. Not becoming who your parents wanted. Not becoming who society rewards. Becoming the person you were designed to be before the world told you who you should be. This requires courage. It demands facing your fears of isolation and judgment, but on the other side waits freedom, unlike anything you've experienced. We've uncovered Nietzsche's silent trick to power. Stop seeking permission. Create your own values. Transform suffering into strength. These ideas shattered conventional philosophy, and they can transform your life. Tomorrow, notice each time you seek approval before acting. Question every should that governs your choices. Ask yourself, Am I living by values I've chosen or values I've absorbed? The path to power begins with this awareness. The most dangerous words in any language are, "That's just how things are done." The most powerful words are, "I choose differently." Which will you speak? As Nietzsche might ask, will you remain comfortable in your chains, or will you accept the burden of your own freedom? If this perspective on power resonated with you, hit the like button right now. Share your thoughts in the comments about a time you broke free from society's expectations. How did it change your life? Subscribe for more philosophical insights that challenge conventional thinking. And most importantly, take one action today that affirms your will to power. Remember, true freedom begins with a single choice that's truly your own.